Hey everyone, welcome back to another segment of Hanging Out for a Living. Let me ask you something. What if the strongest person in the room is the one quietly cracking underneath? Today on Hanging Out for a Living, I'm sitting down with Debbie Simmons. Welcome, Debbie. She is the legacy architect, CEO, and founder of Anchor Point and creator of the Architecture of Trust and Obedience engine. I hope I got that one right, Debbie.
Yeah.
Uh, Debbie doesn't just speak in theory. She built a multi-million-dollar nonprofit, led teams. She's led teams, she's served thousands, adopted 9 children from trauma, and nearly lost her health in the process. This conversation, wow, this conversation isn't about hype. It's really about what happens when the system underneath the leader begins to leak. So if you've ever been in if you've ever been the one everyone depends on, some of us, most of us can relate, right? But no one sees unraveling, then this episode's for you. Welcome to Hanging Out for a Living, Debbie.
Hi, I'm glad to be here with you guys.
So glad to have you. I know you're so incredibly busy, and I'm grateful that you took some time out to be with us today. So let's dive right in. Um, you say trust can leak inside a leadership system. What does that actually look like? And how would a high capacity leader recognize it before it becomes collapse?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so when we talk about trust in the structure of the organization, which is, kind of like the same way that we trust a chair,
Yeah.
okay, we know that the chair is going to hold us and it proves itself time and time again, right? So usually there's three areas where trust leaks in an organization. It is generally in either leadership alignment, decision clarity, or execution reliability. Okay, so it's generally one of those three areas. The interesting thing that I find, if you are the key leader or one of the top leaders in the organization, literally one of the fastest ways to know whether you potentially have a leak is simply two things. One is if I took all of your leaders, your key leaders, separately, individually, and I asked them what the top three priorities were for them in the organization, would they all align together? Okay. And if they don't align, and I mean, I'm thinking, I'm going, I don't know if my team would say it all right. And and especially if it's what are my priorities? Are
Yeah.
they repeating those? Because that, as it goes down the organization, will create drift and which will ruin trust. And the other thing is if you were to be out for a month, would the organization continue to run with the same clarity and the same decisions that you would make while you were gone? Um,
Yeah.
and I go, no, I got some things to work on.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all do. I think we
Yeah.
all do. So the architecture of trust was born in wreckage. It wasn't a workshop. What was the moment you realized performance wasn't the same as alignment?
Yeah, that's a wonderful thought. I have so many stories as I've gone through building businesses and working in businesses over the years of things that I just learned. But I think one of the most crucial ones that I learned is a lot of times you and I operate out of what we have learned over the years. So,
Right.
for instance,
Sure.
I learned that, if I hustle, and I can control things, I can get things done, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah,
this is me.
absolutely.
And it was my survival mechanism for how I kind of got through life, right? And
Hmm.
I had to learn hustle and control, and that worked to get me to a certain level.
Right.
Okay. And it always works pretty much all the time. And interestingly enough, with hustle and control, the world tells you, yeah, go do more of that. And go,
Right. Yeah.
but eventually you will wear yourself out, right?
Right.
And so,
Oh, heck yeah.
yes, so as long as I could show up 100%, I could do hustle and control. I can cover all the gaps for my team. I can fill in at the last minute. I can, if someone didn't get something done, then I can stay the extra hour and
Huh.
I can cover for us. Well, for me, one of the big turning points for me in the last 5 years, 6 years, is I actually shut a truck door on my leg, and it gave me a big injury. And because
Ouch.
I know, and because I had worn myself out for so many years, my body couldn't figure out how to heal itself. And so I had a big hole in my leg and I can't get it healed. And I'm
Oh,
trying to show up 100%, and that's just not physically possible.
no.
And so what it began to do is it began, thankfully, to identify where we had weak spots in our structure. It's so funny. I had a staff member that did something yesterday, and I was talking to her and I said, "Hey, you need to get ready. In the staff meeting today, they're going to use you as an example."
Oh.
And I said, "It's an example for how our system should not work." And I said, there's no shame and nobody's in trouble, anything like that. It's just a wonderful light that got shined on an area. And we don't want to repeat this because this did not work well. And here's where it broke. And so, if I'm not walking around with, whips and giving my team lashes, then we can look at these things and we can grow. And
Right.
that's what we want to do. And so she started laughing. She said, well, I'm glad to contribute. And I'm
I
like,
love
yeah,
that.
we're going to learn a lot from this. And so I think that, my car door taught me, and definitely every time the pressure goes up in your organization, you're going to get the opportunity to see where your system is trusting, because the pressure is what tests it. And that is what determines, for me personally and for an organization. And can we trust that the system, the structure is going to hold? And if we can,
Absolutely.
then we can be free to do the things we need to do. And
Right.
that's what we're looking for in our organizations.
Absolutely. No, that's wonderful perspective and insight. And so folks, you might have seen me fiddling around a little bit here. I couldn't figure out why I was so dang dark. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've got shadows all over. I forgot to turn my halo light on, so I'm sorry about that. But welcome to technology. And since I don't edit anything, here we are. But anyway, Debbie, I mean, you're so, beautifully lit up and everything. And I'm like, wait, I'm so dark. What the heck?
You look great.
Oh,
You're good.
thank you. Like, great. Gotcha. Okay. So you created the obedience engine as a rhythm for sustainable leadership. How do you identify, how do identity and obedience actually protect peace instead of draining it?
Identity and obedience. Okay, so what I would say is, hey, we are all kind of uniquely called here to do something. I mean,
Right.
you're on this earth, we all have purpose, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and when we find that and can work in that, that is wonderful. So, like, I'm blessed right now to be CEO or coach or whatever you want to call me. But you know what? When I get stuck doing other things,
Yeah.
in the organization, then it takes away from me being in my sweet spot. And
Uh,
so I have to be very diligent to look at, like, what am I getting sucked into? And I just give you a great example. You know, as a CEO, I shouldn't be doing our tax papers, our 990s. And I found myself doing the 990s
oh,
last year.
okay.
And I was
Whoops.
like, what am I doing? I said, I can do this, and I'm happy to do that in the organization to get us through a crunch and
Sure.
everything like that. But I'm going, what's it keeping me from doing? And what is
Right.
it costing our organization if I'm not in the spot that I am supposed to be in and doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing? And we know, if I'm not creating awareness, if I'm not meeting with organizations, if I'm not
Sure.
doing things, it's going to hurt the organization. And we have to like hold strong to that. And then I go, really, the obedience engine is truly driven by this idea of pressure that we were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
As the pressure goes up, what happens? What happens in my work? What, in the organization? What happens in me individually?
Right.
And pressure will drive us to make choices. We can either stay in what I call maladaptive ways or old ways, or we can go, okay, how can we change this? And I have to be willing, especially on a personal level, to go, I don't like what that's producing. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
when
Yeah.
when I have to, I mean, think about it. When pressure goes up for me, I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to hustle or I'm going to control, right?
Right.
I am getting control of this,
That's
right?
right.
And the truth of the matter is, how much can I really control? Not much.
Not much. No.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
but I can kill myself trying, right?
Yeah.
And I become a not so nice person when I'm trying to control. So I end up being much more direct with people. Make swift decisions that maybe could hurt the
Sure.
organization. All these things happen because I am operating in this need to control, and it's because I can't trust something. I can't trust the system, or I can't, trust the relationship. So I need to go, okay, what can I change in how I am doing things so that next time when the pressure goes up, I get a different result? And it's not usually big changes, it's usually small things.
Right.
You know, so even if like before I respond, I breathe for 3 seconds and just ask myself, is this really what I should be doing?
Yeah.
That
That's
puts a whole different spin on it, right? And so I go,
absolutely.
yeah, so this is how the obedience engine works because once you have awareness, now you have truth and you have the ability to begin to make changes and stuff like this. I come at this from a faith-based perspective
Hmm.
and I go, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me?
Right.
What is
Exactly.
what is in me that is not living aligned with you, and how do I need to begin to make those changes? And he's so great that when we seek him and we're going, I think I'm controlling this. I don't know why I'm controlling this. And I don't want to be behaving this way because I don't have love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, I'm missing all
Exactly.
of these. And you say I can have those. So what do I need to learn? He is always faithful to answer those when we are aligning ourselves with him. And then the choice becomes, do I make the tweaks or the changes and go back about my life? And the pressure's going to go up again. And does it hold this time?
Exactly.
And that is the process of the obedience engine at work in each one of us. And we need to learn, I think for all of us, we need to learn to fall in love with that process. It's not bad. We're not saying Debbie's a bad person when
Right.
she tries to control. There is something in Debbie that needs to stretch and grow or learn or heal. And I go, it's just a flashlight. You just shined a flashlight in a dark spot.
Yeah.
And I'm going, now I have the chance to grow because I don't want to be like that. And,
Exactly.
yeah. And so I think that that is the art of learning to walk on this journey of what we call life and figuring our
Exactly.
way.
No, exactly. And pressure has a way of making us reactive rather than responsive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
You
great
know, yeah,
test.
it certainly is. So, last of our questions. Many leaders look successful on the outside, but are really eroding underneath. What's the first structural shift you help them make to stop the leak?
Okay, so I would say most we usually have two things going on. There's one of two things. We're either our environment is created as a place where it's gotten so successful and I'm trying to catch up internally to it,
Oh,
or I've internally outgrown what I'm doing and being called to something different. Okay, so those are two different kinds of feelings that can be going on inside of us. And I go, the most powerful thing that I find with leaders today is that we just do not stop and give us a little bit of space and breathe and just be reflective. I mean, even this morning, I was doing a little bit of a quiet time and everything, and I felt like the pressure to get moving with my day. And I was like, oh, I can sense I'm just getting close to a breakthrough here. Like my thought process has
sure.
cleared. for the 30 minutes or whatever I was in there. And I was like, oh, I don't want to leave because I know it's right there. And, and we just don't sit still and listen
Sure.
to what God might be saying to us, what the Holy Spirit might be whispering, what our positive thoughts are. We just have all these negative tapes that run in our head. And so, a lot of times it's just carving out space for a leader to at least stop and to get all the cobwebs and everything out of the way so that they can breathe and so that they can begin to move. They can be creative because we can't be creative, and that's where all the new stuff comes from. The
Exactly.
routine of day to day, it's the creative piece that is what takes us to the next level. And I just think that space is so important. So we can try and do that a lot of times on our own, and some of us can get kind of good at it, but there still is something about being coached and being forced to kind of sit and have someone reflecting back to me, and not just letting me off the hook. And so this is the first step, because the first step gives us kind of a launching pad as to if you've outgrown your calling in your job, then what are you being called to? Because you're
Exactly.
always being called to something. And
Right.
that might be a crazy wild adventure. It could be starting a nonprofit. It could be, creating a new business. It could be going back in your business with new eyes, and we can begin to look at that. If you are the other way and your business is like just super successful and you're sitting there going, I'm overwhelmed,
Yeah.
everything lands in my office, then now we're going to get some perspective and we're going to go, your structure is the problem. Let's go
Exactly.
after what's happening with leadership alignment, decision clarity, and execution reliability, because we can fix those things and it will give you room to breathe again. Because it's interesting when we do it right, that your office gets really quiet
I bet.
because things are working right.
Exactly.
And then what do? You breathe, and what's amazing is you go, this feels like when it was easy.
There you go.
That's
Exactly.
what I want, right? Because then I
Yeah.
can think and dream. And I'm like, so those are the two extremes that you kind of face as leaders. None of it is good, bad, indifferent. It just is. And it's like, okay, how do we make a plan and be the people of impact that we're called to be?
Exactly. Well, Debbie, I want to first of all let me say thank you so so much for this awesome conversation. And folks, if this conversation resonates with you even a little bit, don't ignore that. Debbie works with CEOs, founders, faith leaders, and high capacity teams who are tired of holding everything together alone. So if you're ready to strengthen the structure beneath your leadership, you can connect with Debbie directly. Her contact information is in the description of this video. And if this episode challenged or encouraged you, comment with your biggest takeaway, share it with a leader who may need it, and subscribe to Hanging Out for a Living for more conversations that go deeper than surface success, because sustainable leadership is built on applause. It's not actually isn't built on applause, it's built on trust. It's been a long day. My mouth is like hooked on I don't know what. But anyway, thanks again, Debbie. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.